can I go to the New South Wales election, to the Teal candidates in particular? I mean, we saw, of course, in the federal election, Teal candidates had a huge impact. Many got up, Liberals lost. The Teal candidates in this election, you've got New South Wales very close to running out of enough electricity. Even the two main parties are now panicking about this. But the Teal candidates in this election are, like the Greens, actually demanding no new coal and gas, even though our energy regulator says New South Wales faces serious shortfalls in electricity in a couple of years. These candidates just today didn't want to know. Here they are.
There's a fairy tale going on here. There is enough gas. There's enough gas. And the gas has been... But that's because they're talking about all the gas going offshore. We need no more coal. We need no more gas. The extra gas that people... They want to mine gas for profit. We have enough gas at the moment.
Well, we are focusing on households because we're representing the community. No, let me finish this. Because this is an example, again, of our political parties taking us for granted and listening more to the parties, listening to Macquarie Street and listening to the fossil fuel companies and not listening to us.
Michael, single-issue candidates with a fire in their eyes where reason doesn't... You know, this is so dangerous to our future, isn't it? Do you expect the Teals to do well?
No, I don't expect them to do well. I think this is a different situation to the federal election for a range of reasons. One is that the issues that they're focusing on really don't impact at the state level. But let me give you some evidence of that. You know, I don't know if you picked up this week that Chris Minns, came out and said that if he had to buy Eraring, the coal-fired power station that's programmed to be closed down under these mad green policies, he would step in and buy it to ensure that coal-fired power provided baseload. Now, that's a significant commitment from Minns. It is one that shows me that really the issues that must be being picked up, at least in Labor's polling, is these cost of living issues. And these cost of living issues have as a major cornerstone of all of them the cost of electricity, cost of power, and its impact on employment generally. I think it's a different situation. I think it may well cause a nuisance for, the coalition in certain seats. But remember, the Greens have been running exactly the same crazy policies for years, and they've barely ever managed to get, around 10% of the vote. And in fact, even in the current parliament, you'd expect people like One Nation and others that are focused on jobs to do actually better. And I think that's what you will see in the end of the day. But, those policies are crazy.
I'll tell you what, for all the abuse that Mark Latham's been hurling at me, I've got to say, vote One Nation, guys, because that's making much more sense on these issues than a lot of other parties. But just to pick up on the New South Wales Greens, David, they're just as ridiculously anti-coal. And despite what Michael says, in the federal parliament, they do hold the balance of power. So that's very scary. They're so crazy about it. They've repaid even the single largest donation to their election campaign after finding out the donor runs a big investment fund with shares in oil companies, fossil fuels. Throw out his donation. But here's the twist. The federal Greens leader, Adam Band, he has a super account with investments in coal and gas. David, did you laugh? Did you say hypocrite? What was your reaction?
Well, I mean, all those things, right? It's unethical to invest in the products we all use every day and are going to need into the foreseeable future, right? But let me detail something here that New South Wales has that most other states don't have, and that's optional preferential voting. And what that means, it is highly possible, because things are really tight, that you will have a minority government either way. So you can have a Greens crossbench with the balance of power. It may be Teals. And this is the problem with lodging a protest vote, in my view, at this election, whether it's One Nation or Green. There are voters in certain seats that disproportionately can affect, if their votes exhaust, the outcome of those elections. So for people who are thinking about just voting for One Nation in Western Sydney and Hunter seats, there is a possibility that they split the coalition vote in this. There's a minority Labor government, and you could have a Teal or a Green as the education minister. So to Michael's point about buying back the power station, that
Why are you
could
raising
work.
these spectres?
Because
David,
it's very
that's gonna
possible.
happen.
Please.
It's entirely possible, right? The vote is close enough that you could get a crossbench with the balance of power, and in that scenario, anything happens. You have a minister that is a teal or a green. That's eminently doable, eminently possible. Now, if you're Chris Minns in that scenario and you need to buy back a power station, but your government hangs on a green minority, are you going to do it? I doubt it.
At least he's talking about buying it back. I mean, the Libs want to close them down, mate.
I've got to go. I want to raise that issue with you guys next week because this is a real big one in the election for me. Michael Costa, David Gazzard, great chat. Thank you very much for your time.